There, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the CRAFTiQ challenge. And this is also a kit conspiracy layout because I am using my kit. In the CRAFTiQ challenge, we have a list of 7 items that are given out over the first 7 days of the month. Here is that list: a mood board, silver, a stencil, hexagons, sequins, a punch, vellum, and then there is a bonus twist to create 7 embellishment clusters. This is the mood board that was provided to us, and I took the idea of that sunshine, so I pulled out this stencil, which was also on the list, and that is from Heidi Swapp. It's super old, but it allowed me to create the sun rays that I was looking for that the mood board inspired. So I am using papers that are super old from Simple Stories, Good Day Sunshine, and that is what my my kit conspiracy kit is built based off of for this week. So you're going to see a lot of layouts using that particular collection this week. So I was thinking I would have a sun at the bottom and then the rays coming off of it. What I didn't account for is that the rays don't all come from the very center of the sun. They come from like all the way around it. And so I started cutting into it. I'm going to have to do a lot of finagling because I was not thinking of that at all. So I was thinking I would cut like a half circle or semicircle for the sun and then make the rays come off of that. But yeah, it's going to take me a bit to get there, you guys. Angles and triangles are definitely not my thing, especially when I'm trying to like be exact about it. And I have no idea why I was trying to be so exact about it. But I definitely wasn't thinking at this point. It was probably late at night when I was creating this one. And that happens quite often when I'm super tired and working on it. I don't think about it as much as I probably should have when it comes to these angles. But anyway, I will get there, and I promise it's going to look okay at the end of the day. So I was thinking I was going to use the solid side, and that's why I did all of my writing on the polka dot side. And then midway through, I kind of thought, oh, maybe I'll go and do the polka dots, because the polka dots would look really cool on this wood grain. So I will be flipping that over at some point. And then here's where I decide, yeah, I think I like the polka dots better on this wood grain. And I'm trying to stay with these warmer colors simply because that is what the inspiration mood board showed us from the CRAFTiQ challenge. If you don't know a whole lot about the CRAFTiQ challenge, there is a Facebook group for CRAFTiQ, and JQ Crafty, otherwise known as Jackie Malzahn, runs that, and she does a live usually to create her layout based on the 7 items that were given out over the first 7 days of the month. Now the idea was to create a little bit each day over those first 7 items and see how you can incorporate the new item the next day into what you've already got. But she's pretty low key, and if you just want to create it all at one point after all 7 items are given out, she's totally okay with that. That's what I do. I just don't have enough room in my craft room to let it sit to the side partially done. And I've got enough other projects in the works usually that I need to just keep going and just finish it in usually a sitting, sometimes 2 sittings, depending on what I've got going on. So yeah, she's super low key about it, and you can work on it as you see fit. So I have photos of my daughter and my niece and some of their friends at a water park. It's our year-end celebration for homeschooling, and we had gone every year. These are all from 2008. That's really old. We don't go anymore because my kids are adults now. But we would go every year, and it was always a super fun day. Everybody really had a blast. And so I wanted to document those, working on my older photos during Kit Conspiracy. And if you're not sure what that is, MK Gunn over at her channel, Some Assemblage Required, and I have kitted up a different kit for each week of the month of April, and we are creating with those kits. Now, we have created our kits identically with regard to our patterned paper. The only thing is we don't have embellishments or anything else to go with it. So, well, there may be embellishments, but we are allowed to pull in additional embellishments and cardstock and things from our scrap bin. But otherwise the papers are the same, so it's kind of interesting to see how we are using them differently. And this is our third week. So if you've missed any of that, you can go and check it out on our channels. We do our kit shares on Fridays, and we post on Saturday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And if we have bonus videos, we post those on the days in between. So this is considered a bonus video because I did use my kit, and it is not on one of our regular posting days. So here I'm just trying to figure out exactly where I want some things. I've finally got my rain or my sunshine how I want it, and then I decide, you know what, I'm not really crazy about it on the wood grain because it's so dark, and the photos are super fun and cheery, and so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do it on the polka dot paper, which means I don't really want the polka dot side of the yellow paper showing because that's just a lot of polka dots going on. So I figured I will just go and flip it over and transfer everything to this other layout. So there was a lot of back and forth in my mind on this particular day of creating. But I really do love the end result. And, you know, if I had thought about all of these things right at the beginning, it would have been a much quicker layout and a much quicker video for you because it's really not a super involved layout once you get this background done. So I'm not going to make you sit through all of the recreating of it. So here it is with all of the papers flipped over, as well as the polka dot, obviously. And I did have a couple of spots that the adhesive kind of ripped the yellow paper a little bit. And so I'm going to kind of rotate my layout around to cover up the worst of it. And you're going to see that in a moment here. I did really like this cloud with the sun on it from the 4x6 card in this collection. And in this collection, we do have a lot of papers that have these types of images because Simple Stories, especially back when this collection came out, really had a ton of 3x4 and 4x6 cards with lots of small images on it, or smaller images on it. And so you can definitely cut them apart and create all of your embellishments out of that if that's something that you wanted to do. And that is pretty much what I did with this kit for the entire week. I didn't pull very much from my stash just because I really wanted to use up what I had here, and there was a lot of options. So I got that all fussy cut out. If you are not really comfortable with fussy cutting, you might consider practicing a little bit. When you do that, you want to move your paper, not your scissors. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense, but it's much easier to fussy cut if you're moving the paper with your non-dominant or scissor wielding hand. So if you notice there, the sun is covering up a little bit of a tear in the paper of that yellow ray, and then this one I'm just cutting a new piece of it because I had enough left to go ahead and do that, and I didn't want that little tear in it. Now I do know the paper is a kind of an ombre or gradient, and I don't mind if they're not like lined up perfectly with each other, like all the same saturation of color being on one side of the layout or not. That doesn't bother me at all. I am backing my photo with a 4.5 by 6.5 inch piece of photo mat that I purchased at Hobby Lobby, and then I trim it down because I'd like a much smaller reveal. I don't want it to be I like about 1/8 of an inch around my photo instead of like 1/4 of an inch. So I do trim those down, but it's a lot easier for me to cut into that 4x6 rather than pulling out a whole bunch of 12x12 white cardstock and cutting into that and having a lot left over. I feel like this is a better use of the paper, and I don't mind, trimming off that 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch or whatever it happens to be, depending on what size of photo I'm using, and just tossing that. It's not a big deal. So I highly recommend those, and I buy them when Hobby Lobby has the Paper Studio stuff at 50% off, so it's even less expensive. I think the whole pack of 100 sheets is like, I want to say $5.99 when you purchase it at the regular cost. So they also offer them in black and cream if that's of interest to you. So I definitely wanted to have a little journaling spot for this, and I thought this Rolodex card would work really well for that. I just trimmed it out of another I think that was a 4x6 card. And I am tucking it under so that it can slide in and out. And I did have to roll back some of the adhesive just to make sure it fit under there and would slide nice and smoothly. I really like this piece that has what looks like postage stamps on it. They're a little bit larger than postage stamps, but they are postage. They kind of have like, they're not perforated, but they have a print on them that makes it look like they're perforated. So I like those and thought I would pull those in. I also used my Stampin' Up! Punch to create a little tag there, and I'm going to throw a couple of staples from my tiny attacher on there just to give some added interest. It also qualifies for the silver that is being added to my layout. So far I've used the stencil, I've added some silver, I've used the mood board, I have used a punch. I'm also going to use a punch to punch out some leaves from vellum just to add those because we needed some vellum on here. And I am going to use a punch to punch a hexagon, which is also another item that is required. And then I will have completed all of the 7 items. I do not end up doing the bonus twist to create 7 embellishment clusters. Sometimes I do the bonus twist and sometimes I don't. And this time I chose not to. I wanted to keep this a little bit more on the simple side, and I really like the way that it came out. Along with the tag punch or the label punch on the from Stampin' Up, it has a little tiny label as well, and that little label, I started out with a brown, which is what I'm affixing right now. It's a little brown label, so I used the reverse side, but I'm going to repunch it from a different sheet of paper that has sequins printed on it because I do need to put sequins on here. And so there will be like 2 tiny little printed sequins on that little tiny tag that I'm sticking down right now. But I am also going to add some actual sequins to the layout, but only just a few. So here is the hexagon. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to tuck that in. I end up stamping the date on that hexagon, and I think that is really, it works really well because I don't need to add a whole bunch of other stuff to it because it's got the date on it, it's got the little flowers on the edge, and it kind of brings in the flowers diagonally across the layout. So I'm kind of happy with the way it turned out. I don't normally stamp multiple times for my date stamp, but for whatever reason it wasn't stamping really well, so I was like, I'm just going to embrace it and stamp it multiple times until I get a good clear image. I added more staples to that as well, just to bring in more of the silver and provide more continuity across from the other label that's in the upper left hand corner of the photo. So here's where I grab the little sequin tiny label, and I don't end up using the larger label that got punched on this layout. I will use it on a different layout on a different day. So I am inking up things with the Black Soot Distress ink just to make things pop, give them a nice little border. And my Black Soot Distress ink is not super juicy, so it kind of looks more gray than black, and that's okay with me. I don't want to put it on really heavy-handed anyway. So here are some sequins from Spiegel Mom Scraps, and I am using a crystal katana tool to adhere those or to pick those up. It has like a waxy end or a waxy tip to it, which kind of sticks to the sequin, but it also releases when you stick it into the glue. And I am using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to adhere those. Now I pulled out a really old Mr. Huey's in a color called Shine, which is silver, and I just add a little bit of splatter around to add a bit more silver to the layout and a little bit more sparkle. And that is pretty much it. Close-ups are coming up. Don't forget to check out everyone else who is playing along with the CRAFTiQ challenge. Their links will be down below for you. And don't forget to go and check out MK's channel this week to see what she is creating for Kit Conspiracy. I'm really curious to see what her layouts turn out looking like, because we just have really different styles, and it's always interesting to kind of check out what the other person has done. So there are the little tiny sequins on that little tiny label. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd love a thumbs up, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.